Hello, Gentle Explainer here. Today I am going to gently explain a comedy fantasy movie called Toto the Hero. The movie starts with the death of an unknown man, and on the other side we see Thomas, who hates a man named Alfred very much and wants to kill Alfred and get back his stolen thing. Where Thomas believed that Alfred did not just snatch his valuables from him, but he snatched his whole life from him, because due to an accident in the hospital as soon as he was born, Thomas and Alfred were exchanged, but in reality, there was nothing like that. It was just Thomas's one, because Thomas used to do everything in his thoughts which he wanted to do in his real life, but could not do, and in his thoughts he kills Alfred too, and in this way he has spent his whole life with the help of his thought. Today he locks himself in a room and remembers his old time, which he always wanted to live in his own way. When Thomas was born, his parents were very happy. They sang a song for him when he grew up a little. Thomas had also taught him many things after this from his mother, because his father used to go to office in the morning and return home only at night, and then he used to play with Thomas and his sister Alice at night. Thomas's father kept him happy, but whenever Thomas saw a man living in his neighborhood, he felt that his father was very different from that man. He used to make different stories in his mind, and used to think in his mind that he was born during a fire in the hospital. And while growing up, he started thinking in his mind that he is his neighbor's son, and by mistake his parents took Alfred to their house, but it was just his misunderstanding. This story was made in Thomas's mind when he saw Alfred's luxurious life, and one day in his innocence, he even told Alfred that in childhood they were exchanged in the hospital itself. So your house and parents are mine. For Thomas, the only things he could think of to be happy in life were the things he imagined himself. Thomas's father was a pilot, due to which Thomas started thinking that one day his father married his mother by jumping from a plane, and his sister Alice was born when his father licked his mother's hand. Along with all this, he also used to think that his younger brother Celine was born in a washing machine, and that is why he is strained. One day Alfred and his friends told Celine that he has to show them how to fly. Seeing all this, Thomas was very scared that his brother might take some wrong step. But Celine did not do anything that Thomas was thinking. That night, Thomas's father gave him one of his watches and started going away from home with Alfred's father. Thomas spent the whole night imagining about his father, and the next morning Thomas came to know that Thomas, Alfred's father, who was a pilot, is missing, but Alfred's father apologized to Thomas that if he had any idea of such a thing, he would never have sent him with a plane. After losing his father, Thomas became more depressed than before. On one hand, where Thomas's mother longed to meet her husband, Alfred's family was living a normal life. Alfred's father had sent Thomas's father to bring some goods from England, but there was a strong storm those days. Even then, Thomas's father agreed to do this work. Alice started hating God because of her father's death. Thomas started dreaming of finding his father and thinking about becoming a detective named Toto. He started imagining a future where he would fight Alfred's father, who was responsible for his father's death, and he was a villain for him. And today, in his old age, he laughs while thinking about his same dream. But the dream of becoming a detective Thomas never gave up, even though his dream never came true. He grew up and did a job that he found very boring. One day, he got a call in the office and found out that his mother had died. Since both his father and Alice had died earlier, after his mother's death, he had only a cellist with whom he could spend his life. But due to Celine's mental condition deteriorating, he had to leave her in a special needs hospital where Celine could live a better life. After all this, Thomas also started thinking that now he will start living a good life. In the midst of all this, he kept remembering Alice, and he started looking for a woman who looked like Alice. When Thomas lost his father in childhood, Alice was the one who took care of him, and Thomas had told Alice only about his dream of becoming Toto. After the death of Thomas's father, the condition of his family became very bad. His mother had to steal food items, due to which she had to face humiliation. Seeing all this, Alice started a drama of stealing things, and by flushing the things in the toilet, she took revenge of her mother's humiliation from Alfred's father, who caught her stealing. After a few days, their family got the news that Thomas's father's crashed plane has been found, and Thomas's mother is called to England to identify the dead body found near the plane. Before leaving, she said that a vehicle should be sent for Alice and Thomas, which will take both of them to England. After this, Thomas's mother leaves for England. Then Alice tells Thomas that both of them will not be able to go to England when the vehicle comes to their house to pick them up. So on Alice's advice, both of them hide. Alice said that if their mother does not return, then both of them will live happily together and they will not even need to study. She also started thinking that they will burn this house and go away somewhere and will always be happy together. Alfred understood that Thomas's mother is not at home and both Thomas and Alice are alone at home. Then Alfred comes to their house, but Thomas convinced Alfred so cleverly that Alfred finally had to accept that their mother is present at home. For many days, both of them stayed alone in that house. Now recently Thomas remembers those days. After his mother's death, Alfred came in front of Thomas, whom he hated since childhood. Alfred knew that Thomas is jealous of his luxurious life, so as soon as he comes in front of him, he tells Thomas that today he is living a very better and luxurious life with his father's money, and on the other hand, Thomas is living a very luxurious life today. He is also lonely and middle class. Today in his old age, he is trying to erase those memories of Alfred, but he is remembering both Alfred and his childhood. He remembered the day when he lost Alice forever, because Alice started liking Alfred. Knowing this, Thomas started hating Alice too. Remembering Alice, Alfred, and his childhood, Thomas gets the news today that someone has tried to kill Alfred, but Alfred survived. Thomas kept thinking all his life that only he has the right to take Alfred's life because in childhood, Alfred and Thomas had a fight while playing together, and Thomas felt that Alfred will kill him in this fight. Now Thomas started getting very distant from Alice. One day, he tells her that if she really loves Alfred, then she should set this house on fire and go away with him somewhere far away. In childhood, Alice took Thomas's words seriously and tried to set the house on fire. He lost his life in the attempt. Thomas and Alfred both are devastated by Alice's death. Thomas always held Alfred responsible for Alice's death because he took his sister away from him. Today in his old age, he steals a gun from the hospital and manages to turn off the CCTV camera and runs away from the hospital to kill Alfred. Then on the way, he sees a boy who looks like Celine. Then he remembers when after Alice's death, Thomas's mother sent him to a boarding school. He gets a job after studying in the school, but after leaving that job, Thomas gets lost in his memory. At one place, he sees a woman who looks like Alice. He also starts following her because he wanted to know who she is. The girl's name was actually Evelyn. As soon as Thomas gets to know her address, he immediately goes to her house. After going there, Thomas finds out that she is married. Then Thomas tells Evelyn that she is married. He says that he wants to meet her again and again, and Evelyn, thinking him to be a madman, told him that she will meet him the next day. Next day, Thomas learns about Evelyn's life and he befriends her, and today old Thomas reached the same place where he used to meet Evelyn and where Evelyn introduced Thomas to her friends, saying that he is her close friend. He felt the same happiness by being with him which he used to feel with Alice. And the way Alice used to steal things by acting, Evelyn started stealing things from different places by acting with Thomas. Evelyn did not understand when her friendship turned into love and their affair started. One day, Thomas takes Evelyn to meet Celine, and slowly Evelyn started becoming a part of that family. But today, leaving that happiness behind, old Thomas started waiting for Alfred to return to his home so that today he can fulfill his every wish, so that he can take revenge. And in the meantime, once again, he starts crying thinking about his relationship with Evelyn, because there came a time when Evelyn also started saying the same things that Alice used to say, and then Thomas started planning to go away from there with Evelyn. But one day, as if an earthquake came in Thomas's life, when he came to know that Evelyn is the wife of Alfred, who is now becoming a famous personality. He came to know that there was never happiness in their marriage. But then Thomas starts thinking about Alice, that Alfred snatched Evelyn from him just like Alice. He got so entangled in all this that he could not understand that Evelyn loves him and not Alfred, and is going to leave Alfred for him. And before knowing all this, he went away from the city. In the meantime, he also attacked a stranger, and after that day, he could never meet Evelyn. Thomas is still in the last days of his life. Toto is lost in his dreams of becoming a famous hero and killing Alfred. He was thinking about all this when he suddenly came to know that some people had already reached Alfred's house to kill him. But because Thomas wanted to do this work himself, without wasting time, he reaches a place where Alfred was living, hiding from those goons. He scares the scared Alfred further and returns back. Then Alfred recognizes him. Alfred is very happy to see Thomas, and for that moment Thomas also forgot his hatred. Alfred once again reminded Thomas of the day when Thomas had said that he wanted to exchange his and Alfred's lives. I hope you liked this movie explain video. If you want to see more similar movie explain videos, then you can watch this videos by clicking here.